Hey, this is the World Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is a question that's been coming up a lot recently, especially with the political situation that's going on in the United States, which is a question of, will America have a civil war? Which is a question that keeps on coming up over and over and over and over and over again nowadays. So for this video, I will, through using facts and logic, explain if America will truly have a civil war or not, such as, for example, if Joe Biden is reelected in 2024, things like that, things that are clearly very divisive issues in the United States. So let's get started. So to answer the question, first and foremost, the answer is simply no. I don't think America will have a civil war. The reason why I don't believe America will have a civil war is simply due to the fact that even though a lot of the things the left wing is doing, which is not even really left wing, it's just more radical left wing, woke left wing. Being a left wing person, I can tell you myself, that's not real left wingism. Just like a lot of what Trump is doing is not actually real right wingism. It's just radicalism, if anything. The truth of the matter is, even though the woke left is doing things that clearly are pissing off a lot of people, the truth of the matter is there's nothing that they have done that is so bad or so irritating that it would really justify a civil war. Because the last time America had a civil war, which was in 1861, that was for a very divisive issue, which is the idea of, should we free slavery? Which, of course, aside from the fact that the white Southerners at the time believed they were superior to the black race, for that matter, and particularly African Americans. The truth of the matter is that even despite those facts, the thing is that even aside from that, they had an economy based off of slavery. They made a lot of money off of slavery. Without slavery, actually, the South for a long period of time had a recession, which they haven't truly actually ever really recovered from. It's a well-known fact that Southerners are actually quite poor and have historically been poor because they relied historically on slavery. So it was something economic to them, aside from the fact that they simply despised these people, the African Americans, So that was the reason for that. What are people going to rebel for today? What, wokeness? Simply, the media is woke. Like, that's not a strong enough issue to get people to really want to take up arms or something like that. Or it could be another issue like, they're trying to push for gay rights and transgenderism and stuff, which, to put it bluntly, a lot of these things, the radical left wing, which is not real left wingism, is trying to push, is annoying and irritating, and how they're trying to force people all these stupid pronouns and all this type of crap and all that type of foolishness. There's nothing so strong despite those things, that would actually make people want to take up arms. It's annoying, but it's nothing really that absolutely horrible and horrid for people to want to take up arms. Even with other issues that are around that are quite bad, that are quite bad out there, there's nothing that is really that strong to make people want to take up arms. Not to mention, for a civil war to really happen, especially in this world we live in nowadays, we actually have very good methods to kind of maintain balance in nations, and like the UN and stuff like that, to prevent things that getting that far. So the idea that states are going to secede and this and that would simply be foolish, and is simply nothing that I believe is going to happen. It's nothing that's going to happen. It would be extremely complicated. It's extremely hard, not to mention a lot of Americans and the international community would be extremely against it, particularly the South, because the whole world knows how the South feels about black people. We already know what they would try to do if they were to be able to secede from the United States. To have enough manpower. Because for the South to secede, that would require a lot of states, and not all states of people think the same. That would be, states think the same. Not to mention, there's many complications, like there's things like the CIA, all that type of stuff. To really do it would be extremely complicated to do. So to really say we're going to have all the southern states, because let's keep it real, it'd be the South that want to do it. That the South has easily 10 states or something like that. 10 states. To really say all 10 states would do it would be extremely hard to do at the time. Extremely hard to do. Not to mention when that happened in the 1800s, the last time America had a civil war, the thing is America didn't have communications and stuff as good as we had today. So people could, of course, do things like that better. How are they going to do that now? When obviously the American government can send people, send drones and all that type of stuff instantly. You see what I'm saying? So how the hell are they going to do that? That would be extremely hard to do. Even for more divisive issues, there's still no justification to do something like that. Even for issues such as inflation's happening all over the world. That has nothing to do with Joe Biden. Joe Biden, to put it bluntly. Inflation's happening everywhere. It has nothing to do with Joe Biden. Even for issues like the border issue, it's bad, but it's nothing so bad that it's going to justify people wanting to have a civil war over it. They still, of course, have border control that prevents people from coming into the United States and all that type of stuff. And even for, back to inflation, the main issue that historically has actually caused revolutions throughout the history of the world. The biggest factor, that's no one's particularly to blame for that. And the economy is bad, but it's picking up a bit again. So there's not going to be any civil war. It's simply all hype. People always hype these things up whenever things get slightly bad. Just like around the time in the early 2000s when Osama bin Laden first, of course, attacked America. People were all paranoid. People were saying, we will probably have another terrorist attack or something like that, which they even pulled, and it said that 50% at the time believed there would be another massive attack on America or something, which never really did happen to the scale of 9/11. Secondly, to the 2008 financial crisis, where people were predicting this might result in the end of the world. People are going to steal oil from cars and we could have an apocalypse for it, to even a COVID issue. The media hypes up everything. Nothing bad's going to happen. It's just hype in the end of the day. Nothing that bad's going to happen. In the 21st century, if you're expecting anything really crazy or terrible to happen or any of that thing like that, that's not really it. The world doesn't work like that anymore. Nothing bad's going to happen. Probably find a hobby or something to keep yourself occupied, because nothing to that degree happens anymore. Because if you're expecting things to be like the past or like the movies to be more specific, it's not going to happen. The world there's too effective of methods and so on and so forth for things like that to happen. People, of course, won't be happy with a lot of situations. We'll have tensions, we'll have issues, but nothing to that extent would happen ever again. I don't truly believe it. I know Americans are not getting along, particularly based on regional lines, but to think that they would ever have a civil war where both sides would clearly lose is simply unfounded and untrue. So to answer your question, no, they're not going to have one. Which also, of course, brings up the question, what is the future of America? Well, the future of America, to answer your question, particularly with China's rise, is going to be a good one in the future. It'll still be powerful. It'll still run entertainment. Asia hasn't particularly China, which is supposed to be the nation in Asia, hasn't really shown that they have the ability to really entertain people. And they just don't have it in them. They might overtake the United States, but it's not like America's going to drop to like the 10th nation in the world in terms of power. America's still going to be powerful even if China overtakes it, and America is still going to be quite dominant for some time. China is showing that they're not as powerful as they made themselves out to be, or the media hyped them up to be in the future. So the truth of the matter is, to answer your question, China is not, America is not going to lose its power. So things are going to go well for in America for quite some time. So anyway, this is my video. If you like videos like this, remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. And this is all I have to say. Hope you enjoyed the video, and simply put it, later.